Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're hanging out and we've got chickens, we've got ducks, we've got a mini horse who's back there right now, and we have Arwen, the goat, right there. And a turkey. There he is, on the side. Turkey. And today we are going to be diving into one of the questions I get asked a lot. As I've been talking about getting back into breeding goats, I have also talked about my approach and how I have no intention, and I didn't before, of breeding my goats every single year. And so I've been asked quite a bit, why do I intend not to breed them every year? Why is that not something I've done? Why do I choose to breed them every other year? So it might seem like a no-brainer for a small farm to have animals producing regularly, but when it comes to breeding, we actually do things a little bit differently. It's not necessarily right or wrong. Everyone has a different approach. So I'm just going to explain mine. So let's talk about it. Goats, babies, and sometimes the best thing you can do is not breed at all. And that's my approach. So let's talk about it. So why are we even talking about this? Now here's the thing. I love baby goats just as much as anyone. They are the cutest, sweetest, funniest thing. There's nothing cuter than a pen full of bouncing kids, and those early spring mornings with bleats echoing around the yard. That is pure magic. But I don't believe that just because a goat can have babies every year, that they should. I don't believe that any female animal needs to be constantly pregnant or nursing to be considered useful or productive on the farm. Whether it's a goat, a dog, a cat, those bodies need a break too. And I know people do it differently. Everyone has a different approach. Everyone will have a different criteria for deciding when a goat or a horse or a dog gets an off year. But I start my planning early. So when I started planning my breeding program here at Andersen Acres, I made a very conscious choice. I want my does to have time off. Okay, my mama goats, just like mama dogs and mama cats, need time off. They do not need to be pregnant all the time or nursing all the time. I want them to have a chance to be just goats, to graze, to play, to nap in the sun without being weighed down by pregnancy or watching over a veritable herd of babies. That's important to me. So here's how I structure it. I tend to breed a doe 1 year, and then the next year she gets a break. We have mosquitoes. So that's fun. That means I rotate my mamas. Okay. I completely rotate them. Some years, a few will be pregnant. Now, I don't have breeding mamas right this second. I have in the past, and I will again. But when I do have them, some years a few are pregnant and raising kids. Other years, they're just enjoying their time and acting like goofy teenagers again. This approach requires some careful planning. I need enough breeding age females that I can alternate without skipping kidding entirely, unless I make the conscious choice to skip kidding that year. So if I want babies in the spring, I need to plan ahead. Who's bred, who's resting, and how it's all going to play out. But it's absolutely worth the effort. I found that giving does off, that off year, results in better body condition, fewer health complications, and overall happier goats. And here, we're all about happier animals, happier, healthier animals. I know that doesn't work for everybody. I know that, especially if your income is dependent on breeding for milking or breeding for the kids, or if you feed your family by breeding your animals and processing the young, well, I understand that not everyone can do it the way I do it. But there are certain health benefits that come with skipping a year. When goats are bred year after year without a break, they can burn out. Pregnancy is hard work, and so is nursing. Anyone who's had children knows that. And when you stack those back to back year after year, you can start to see things like joint stress or weight loss, mineral depletion, even uterine fatigue. All of this can start to creep in. And that's what happened to Lily, Arwen's mother. Is she was bred too many years in a row and she had a uterine prolapse. And it probably wouldn't have happened if she'd had a break. So, pros and cons, right? And that's not even touching on the emotional side. Because, yes, I believe animals feel stress. Constantly caring for kids, getting rebred while nursing, and never getting that time to just be, it can really add up. A well rested doe is a healthier doe. Her body gets a chance to rebuild. Remember, goats are pregnant for 5 months, right? They're pregnant for 5 months. That's a significant chunk of the year. And then they spend several weeks nursing their baby. They've only got a few months left out of the year to be goats. They're recovering. So I like to give them that downtime. Her body gets a chance to rebuild itself. And when she does have kids again, she is better prepared for the demands of motherhood. So, but what about the milk? Is the question I get when I talk about this. I know some people raise goats primarily for milk, and I love having goat milk. I especially like making soap and cheese out of it. So they keep them in milk by breeding every year and then milking either while the babies are weaning, or they bottle feed the babies, or they wait till the babies are starting to wean and then they take over milking, whatever. There's lots of different ways to do it. And if that's your setup, I get it. It works for a lot of people. But for me, I don't breed just for the milk. I breed because I love goats. I want to preserve lines that I believe in and raise healthy animals and occasionally offer a few for sale to good homes. That's always been the way I do it. Now, that doesn't mean it's wrong for people who need to turn a profit or for people who need their goats and milk. It's fine. It's just not the way I do it. That's it. I'm not running a big dairy and I don't need gallons of milk a day. So one or two ladies who are still giving me a little bit of milk is more than sufficient. So if a goat takes a break from milking for a year, that's okay. I can make cheese another time or soap another time or just source my goat milk elsewhere. It's not that big a deal. I know it's a bigger deal for some people. Honestly, it just makes me happy to see them frolicking without a belly full of babies or a trail of kids underfoot. And that happiness is part of why I do what I do, because that happiness is contagious. They're happy, I'm happy. I spend a significant chunk of my day sitting out here. I want to be happy, and to do that, I got to make them happy. So, what about our breeding philosophy and practice? What does this all look like at Andersen Acres? So, I'll walk you through an example pulled right from my own experience. Let's say I have 4 breeding does, which is likely where I'm going to end up again. 4 seems to be my perfect number. So let's say I have 4. I might breed 2 of them this year and give the other 2 a break. Next year, I flip it. Last year's mums get to rest, and this year's retirees step back up to the plate. This way, I always have some kids each spring, but never too many, because that's another concern. I don't want to oversaturate the market with the type of kids I'm producing. The barn isn't overwhelmed. I'm not overexerting myself or my animals. Remember, it's just me. I am just me. Okay? I am a very small hobby farmer. I don't have staff. I don't have an assistant that can look after my goats or my turkeys or my chickens or my ducks when I'm away. It's literally just me. So I can't overextend myself, because if I overextend myself, I'm going to be useless to my animals. And it allows me to give each doe the care and space and attention she deserves, whether she's raising babies or just enjoying being a goat. And the other perk, the kids are healthier. They come from rested mamas with strong bodies and full energy stores. There are no problems. And I'm able to enjoy the baby season more without feeling burned out myself. I don't need to be in the constant rigmarole with all of my goats. I don't need to be doing that. So it works for us. At the end of the day, this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. Everyone has to find a solution that works best for them. Every farm is different. But this method, this more intentional, slower-paced approach, it works for us. And we employ it with rabbits and even with the chickens. We rotate who gets to be in the pen. So the birds who were in the pens, the breeding pens this year, won't be next year. We are always very intentional about this. We believe in letting animals live the best lives they can while still running a functional Slightly functional hobby farm. I'm not going to say we're fully functional. We're rather insane right now, but we try. But that means we make choices that don't always follow the mainstream, that don't always look like everyone else's, like giving our mamas time off, like breeding less often, breeding fewer animals. We value well-being over productivity because this is a hobby farm. I don't have to make cash doing it. So we have that luxury. And if that makes for happier goats, I'm a happier farmer. And you better believe I'm going to keep doing it that way because my happiness matters too, and my happiness comes from them. Hi, Shadowfax. Well, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. I want to hear from you. Do you breed your goats every year? Have you tried giving your does a time off? Or are you thinking about getting into goats and wondering what your options are? Let me know down in the comments because, again, it's not a one-size-fits-all. I love hearing about how other folks run their farms and what works best for them. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.